Hey, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever you're watching this. Thank you for watching it. I'm Bernie Miklasz, and this is the Bernie Show here on STL Sports Central, presented by DraftKings. The crown is yours. I have been writing and talking about St. Louis area sports since 1985, and here at STL Sports Central, you can count on me to do 5 videos and write 5 columns each week here on our site. I also join Randy Carricker once a week on his show on STL Sports Central. Please want to do us all a favor here and subscribe to this STL Sports Central YouTube channel, and also hit the button on the videos you watch. We're working hard for you, giving you all the content you can handle for the teams you love in St. Louis, whether it be pro sports, colleges, you name it. We're going to keep pumping it out, but you help us when you can. Hit that like button and please subscribe. Always feel free to comment too. If you want to rip me, you can do that. It's all good. I hate to, let's talk about today's topic. I hate to say I told you so, because maybe it ain't polite to say I told you so. Well, sorry, but I told you so. I'm talking about Mike Shildt's firing in St. Louis and how that history aligns with Schildt's decision to step down all of a sudden as the manager of the San Diego Padres. After only 2 seasons, with only 2 years to go, 2 seasons of managing, 2 years to go on his contract with the Padres. The primary reason for Schildt's firing in St. Louis was based on his harsh treatment of his coaching staff and how he went too far in criticizing them. You know, it got personal, it got nasty, blah, 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 blah. It's something I have relayed to the public many times, but as many times as I do, people still ask, how come the media has never really said what happened? Well, don't look at me. Do not look at me. I'm not in that group. Take up your complaints with somebody else. Anyway, it got ugly towards the end there with Schildt. The coaches felt that some of his criticisms really weren't criticism. They were very personal and very basically personal attacks, and they were kind of fed up with it. John Mozeliak's attempts to patch the damage, talk through it, move on, get everyone back together. It wouldn't work because Schildt basically was determined to make multiple firings and settle some scores or whatever. Mozeliak wouldn't allow it. Mozeliak was upset by how poorly Schildt treat the coaches, and some of you, I know, are rolling your eyes. Well, I don't care what Mo thinks. Well, Mo's in charge. He's the boss. The bosses get to decide what goes on, okay? That's kind of the thing, how it works. Anyway, the situation deteriorated quickly, and then Schildt was gone. Once again, I feel obligated to remind everyone, as I just did, except I won't go on about it this time. Managers do not give orders to a president of baseball operations, just like the president of baseball operations do not give orders to the guy that owns the team. There's a structure in place that is the same structure that's in place in all sports franchises. Managers aren't in charge. They work for people. The guy who runs the baseball department is in charge of baseball, but the owner must sign off on everything, and the owner has the final say. I don't know why. Never mind. I'm whining enough. I'll shut up. Let's fast forward to Schildt's departure from the Padres earlier this week. I suspected there was a little more to it than, he's burned out. He's not feeling well. And, I don't doubt that those things are true. He's stressed out and needs to just step away. It's kind of consuming him. I don't doubt that at all. But it's also true that there can be other things to this, and it doesn't have to be just that. Both things can be true. There's some other problems that had nothing to do with health and stress and pressure. So I was doing my late night reading last night, and longtime baseball columnist and reporter Jon Heyman of the MLB Network and the New York Post wrote something about Schildt's retirement from managing the Padres. It was short, so I'll just go ahead and read it to you verbatim. Heyman wrote this, quote, Mike Shildt's surprise departure from the Padres was announced as a retirement, and team personnel are insisting it was Schildt's call to exit after feeling worn out. However, Heyman continued, it was hard to see him lasting in that role, considering his very poor relationship with some of his coaches. Sources suggest one of the coaches was recently so upset after feeling insulted by Schildt that a fight nearly broke out. Heyman concluded, quote, Schildt gained a rep as blunt and temperamental in St. Louis, where he was fired after an excellent 2021 season. In St. Louis, the feeling was he didn't treat the support staff appropriately. So the situation is somewhat similar. Like I said, I told you so. Considering how Schildt lost his job in St. Louis, I'm absolutely stunned to see that history has repeated itself in San Diego. But Schildt, more than I ever realized, has just allowed his emotions and ego get the best of him way too many times. And I have as I said, I have no doubt that his claims of being exhausted and worn out and burned out and all that are truthful. But, at some point, this good guy is going to have to learn how to control some things, because it's really affecting in his career. Where a manager as talented as he is with the baseball stuff, just doing considerable harm to his own career, maybe even irreparable damage. And so when I return for my second segment of today's Bernie Show, I'm going to revisit the connection between the Schildt problems in St. Louis and his problems in San Diego. But first, let me repeat the great news for sports fans in St. Louis across the state of Missouri. You don't have to wait much longer, because DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook, this app is finally coming to the Show Me State, and it will be active again on December the 1st, and you can cast wagers and have fun. Get in the game. Because on December 1st, when we become the Show Me the Money State, DraftKings Sportsbook goes live, and you're ready to roll. And if you're thinking, well, wait a minute, I have to wait on the sidelines till December 1st. Listen, you don't have to. Get organized, prepared now. You can get ready and sign up now and be ready to go. Click as soon as December 1st is online. So when we go live on December 1st, new Missouri customers get $300 in bonus bets just by placing a $5 bet. $5. As I always joke, that's like one of those expensive cups of coffees, little lattes somewhere. Except when you buy that $5 latte, the fancy coffee place, they don't give you $300. I love this, but at DraftKings Sportsbook, you bet $5, you get $300 bonus bets. And DraftKings is the best. You got live in-game betting, so you can jump in if you notice a trend, or you don't like a manager bringing in a reliever or something like that. You think that the matchup's a disadvantage to the pitcher, you can jump in mid-play. There's lightning fast payouts, none of this garbage about, you have to wait 3 days for your money. Well, why would you want to be disrespected like that? DraftKings Sportsbook doesn't do it. And through DraftKings Sportsbook app, you got more ways to get on the action and more ways to do it quick. There's no better way or better place for you to start. So when we go live December 1st, you'll be betting. Well, I guess I could say bidding with the Sportsbook app, trusted by millions. It's safe, it's secure, you got fast withdrawals, everything you want. The rest is up to you to win the money. So here's a play. You download the DraftKings Sportsbook app, use the code STL Sports, and when we go live on the first day of December, that $5 bet turns into $300 in bonus bets. That is code STL Sports in partnership with DraftKings Sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Must be 21 plus. Physically present in Missouri. Eligibility restrictions apply. Bonus bets expire 7 days after they are issued. Excludes customers who redeem pre-launch sign-up offer. Terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/promos. DraftKings, the crown is yours, and thank you all for listening. Welcome back to my second segment. Schildt was very dramatic about his decision to walk on and out from San Diego, and he planned to immediately move back to his home state of North Carolina, where he's got a beach house. That sounds good at this time. To explain his decision, Schildt put a lot of stuff out there. In my opinion, just my opinion, I could be wrong. I view this as a preemptive strike. Because when you just put reams and reams and reams of stuff out there explaining why you are, quote, retiring, I think it also is a way, knowing what happened in St. Louis, it's probably Mike Shildt wanted to ward off speculation that he'd been fired again, or he was about to get fired again. So he left on his terms, and with his terms, he knew he would have to explain a lot of stuff, and maybe he even over-explained a little bit. There was some desperation there that actually raised curiosity. Anyway, just my opinion. I could be wrong. Schildt cited health issues in other interviews. He's also talked about how he'd be threatened by gamblers who evidently blamed him for losing bets. So much going on here. So very much going on here. So this is the Mike Shildt, when it comes to, managing baseball and things like that, man, he's a really bright guy, but man, just the never ending drama that goes on with him is just, I never would have expected it. The way he came up through the Cardinal system and everything else. I never would have expected that this part of it, the temperament, would be something that would take him down. So anyway, I believe this. Whatever happened with Schildt and the San Diego coaches is a separate issue from all the stuff I just mentioned. I'm just surprised that he couldn't maintain control emotionally when such over-the-top conduct cost him his dream job of managing his beloved Cardinals. Now, for years, it's really annoyed me when folks talk about Moselek's dismissal of Schildt at the end of the 21 season and how Moselek, of course, cited philosophical differences. Now, Moselek wouldn't elaborate. And, just so we understand each other, I don't blame a single Cardinals fan for being still ticked off by this vague explanation offered by Mo, although he later added that it really wasn't his choice. It was the advice of the attorneys to just say you have philosophical differences. We don't want you going in all the dirt. But the story has never entirely ended because Cardinals fans have frequently asked over and over and over and over and over again why the St. Louis sports media has never gone deeper to report what happened. And I don't know why more was not reported about the reasons for his sudden ouster. But my friends, that ain't my problem, because I had multiple sources on the day that Schildt was fired who were impeccable, and they began telling me some things, and it came from any number of different areas. It wasn't just, one guy who was a Mo guy. It wasn't one guy who was a Schildt guy. I just wanted to learn everything I could about what led to this, and I was able to quickly cite the number one reason for Schildt's firing. I reported on the number one reason for this ouster in the days after the firing. I was a little cautious at first because it makes sense. Find out more. Push to find out more. Dig some more. Get the info. Get more info. So, this was a gradual thing, but I did get into the coaching problem, right from the beginning. And most of what I said came on my old KFNS radio show. I wrote some about it in the days after the move went down, and I've elaborated it on many occasions through the years. For example, when I was answering, I just want to find a really good example for you. Answering reader emails when I was writing for my friend Dan McLaughlin at Scoops with Danny Mac, I addressed this at length and at some point after the firing. It was I can't remember the exact timing of it, but it was during that winter before they went to spring training. And here's what I wrote. I'm going to quote myself. Schildt's relationship with the coaches deteriorated, and a big part of that was the increasing instances of the manager having fits and berating coaches in a demoralizing and disrespectful way. I don't think anyone on the staff sobbed when the move was made. And all of the key coaches stayed on board after the firing, and that says a lot. They like and respect the new manager, Ali Marmol, but it goes beyond that. Schildt's coaching staff is looking forward to having a more respectful and fruitful coach-manager relationship. Number two, I wrote this, quote, the front office wanted to keep the coaching staff intact. Schildt wasn't willing to do that. Many will target, as I wrote, many's going to target the fans' favorite scapegoat, hitting coach Jeff Albert. And I feel confident in saying there was something of a showdown. In other words, Schildt wanted Albert out. Moselek said, I don't think we're prepared to do that. Our offense in 2021 started to work pretty well. So there were a couple of other coaches, at least a couple of other. Schildt wanted to move on, and Moselek wanted to have a conversation, see if they could find a way to meet in the middle. But Schildt was having none of it. It was going to be his way or the highway. Well, he hit the highway. Anyway, it's such a waste. Anyway, number three, I also wrote this. The irony, of course, is that Schildt sacked the popular and effective hitting coach, Mark Budaska, in order to empower Jeff Albert. And then when Schildt perceived Albert as some sort of threat, which he wasn't, then it was time to fire Albert. after you had fired Badaska? Good grief. And that's what I wrote at the time, but let me add this. Dysfunction much? Anyway, I tried my best to dig for the information a lot of fans wanted. So don't look at me when you talk about the St. Louis media not getting to the bottom of this. Please do not stick me in there with the same media group that didn't drill down harder to let the fans know what happened and to build up to Schildt's stunning removal. Listen, soft media town. I've always said it. I can't help it. I tend to be the lone wolf in this market, and even then, I get criticized when I praise people. I love my job. I'm just pointing out the way it works. A guy like me, if I was doing what I do in New York, Philadelphia, Boston, some other places, I wouldn't stick out like the proverbial sore thumb. But in St. Louis, we like to play things a little safe, right? You know, and if you're the one who speaks out and barks and rips people and calls people out, and you're doing a radio, you're doing podcasts, you're doing columns, now video, it's kind of like, oh, that man's dangerous. That man's dangerous. Who let him out of the cage? You know, I mean, it's just bizarre the way this town works. It really is. The other thing that's bizarre about it, I found out, is like Chaim Bloom has just started his job and there's people ripping him already. And so anytime I say or write something nice about Chaim Bloom, it's like, get off your knees. Chaim Bloom, get off your knees. So people are ripping him before basically he's even started the job. And if you dare say anything positive, I mean, there are just such extremes. Either the media in our town is so soft and afraid to touch stuff. But then you have fans who, you know, want you to be even more negative or critical than you are. And then if you praise someone who warrants praise, then that means you're on the take, you're on the payroll, you work for the team. Cuckoo town. Most sports towns are. There was an odd footnote to the story, the Schildt story, the Jeff Albert story, and everything else. The timing's crazy. Earlier this week, the New York Mets hired Jeff Albert as their hitting coach. Yes, that Jeff Albert. Albert was absolutely despised by Cardinals fans because of his use of analytics and that the work of the devil, that advanced technology that has ruined baseball. This is also very, very funny to me. But I tell you what wasn't funny and still isn't funny is all the inner turmoil and dissension that was going on behind the scenes, and it was embarrassing. But the Cardinals can learn from it, and I believe they already have. It doesn't mean it will stay this way, but I am encouraged that everything's off to a good start. Now, if you can stand me kind of being positive for a minute, I'm going to do that in my third and final segment. I'll tell you why the Cardinals are, at least right now, in a better place than they were going forward. And yeah, I think that's very important, especially when you're starting a damn rebuild. And many of you will disagree because that's what we do, and disagreement is fine. So have your say. But first, it's time for me to give the gentleman a little pep talk about BlueChew. As I like to say, chew it and do it, guys. That's all you got to do. BlueChew can help you raise your game for those intimate and pleasurable times that are really special with your partner. Big Blue can power you up, and you don't have to hesitate or be bashful or feel awkward. Just get some of it and then chew it, and then you do it. I know what BlueChew's done for me, and I'm of Social Security age. I'm an old dude, and I want you to discover what BlueChew can do for you, whether you're young, old, or somewhere in the middle. If you need a stronger bat, maybe I should change it. If you need a stronger hockey stick, BlueChew is in the equipment room, so go get it, and they'll get it done after that in the bedroom or any other room you choose. BlueChew is the original brand offering chewable tablets for enhanced performance. You're going to get your first month of BlueChew free. You're just a few clicks away. I'll explain it. Sign up at BlueChew.com, consult with one of their licensed medical providers, and once you're approved, you'll receive your prescription at your doorstep in a few days. It's all done online, simple, and private. Try your first month of BlueChew free when you use the promo code Bernie. Just pay $5 shipping. Yep, that's promo code Bernie to get your first month free. The only cost to you is $5 shipping. Visit BlueChew.com for more details and important safety info, and we thank BlueChew for sponsoring the Bernie Show here on STL Sports Central. All right, welcome back to the third segment on today's Bernie Show. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Hit that like button under our videos. And okay, I'll stop begging now. I just want to thank you for supporting us. One of the things I like about the new baseball setup in St. Louis as John Mozeliak turned over the reins to Chaim Bloom, is the way everyone already is working together in a way that has not occurred here in a long time, and at least is a factor in the fact that the Cardinals have missed the playoffs in 6 of the last 10 years. There's been a slow, steady deterioration of a lot of things. Chaim Bloom made the decision to retain Oli Marmol as manager for obvious reasons, but let's start with this. As the rebuild formally gets underway, Bloom and Marmol are philosophically aligned. Kind of important to have between the manager and the guy who's making the decisions. You want to kind of have those boys on the same page when you got this massive project that is going to like redefine Cardinals baseball for the better or for worse for the next 10 to 15 years. You want to have people that are actually in alignment and how they see things. I don't know. That's just a thought. Or do we want a new manager coming in here who's not compatible with what goals are for ownership and the front office, and then you're going to have more chaos and then more backbiting and feuding? Is that what y'all want? I know reality TV show has basically ruined the minds of too many Americans, but do you really want that to happen here with something as precious as the Cardinals? Bloom and Marmol are philosophically aligned. They have cultivated a positive working relationship. They're on the same page on the rebuild as for how to proceed, what should be done, how it'll be handled. So I thought Bloom, oh, there I go again, showed integrity by refusing to throw Marmol to the angry mob. He wants to find out about all the people that are working for the Cardinals and how everyone's going to fit beyond 2026. And it makes perfect sense to keep Marmol in place as the Cardinals transition. He wants to see, Bloom does, how Marmol's going to handle 2026. And that's a good call. It's a right call. Why risk chaos by bringing in a new manager who may not be the right fit for a rebuild? He may say he'll go along with it in the interview process, but you never know until the real stuff starts to fly. And Bloom's already got confidence that Marmol knows exactly what's up and what's expected of him, and you need that in a rebuild situation. See, there is a chance to speed up this process if everyone's on the same page. Oh, and by the way, Marmol has 1 year left on his contract, so you should enjoy knowing, I think, that he still has to prove he's the right fit. He's going to come back for his final season. Bloom is holding off on a contract extension. So Oli Marmol isn't guaranteeing anything. So I don't know why so many people are passing out on the fainting couch over this. Bloom has synced the major league staff with the minor league staff, and the executive hired by Bloom so far, including Rob Cerfolio, Larry Day, and Matt Pierpont, coordinate with Marmol and the coaches at the major league level to make sure everyone is teaching and emphasizing the same methods from the same playbook, and everything's the same in terms of the teaching. It's okay. This is how we like to handle this. This is like how we like to do this bunt defense play. So everyone is on the same page. Major leaguers and minor leaguers alike. They're all learning from one playbook, the way it used to be around here. That's really smart. In the past, minor league players and major league players in the Cardinals organization under the great George Kissel and many others, they always were being taught the same stuff from the Cardinal Way playbook, which is an instruction manual. But for an increasing number of years now, major league players and minor league players in the Cardinal system were hearing different things, even conflicting and contradictory things. That led to confusion and basically impaired the development, or at least was a factor in impairing development of some very important prospects. I also like that Bloom came in and kept the front office pretty much in place instead of automatically dumping out all of those who worked with Mozeliak. If these people are smart and if they can fit, and if they maybe will have more of a voice now than they did before, and they are of value to the Bloom operation, why the hell should Bloom throw them away before he can learn more about them and really where they fit going forward? There's no reason to get rid of people who might be an asset to you, could well be an asset to you, just because they worked with Mozeliak. At some point, St. Louis, can I just put this out there? Is there some time where we can get away from demonizing anybody that's got the Mozeliak taint? Can we kind of move on from that at some point? Well, I don't like him because he was hired by Mo. All Are people going to be saying that in like 2036? Can we move the hell on? Is that possible? Anyway, Bloom welcomes dissenting voices because he wants to listen to opinions that aren't rubber stamps of his opinions. He believes that's how you learn. Somebody that works for you might have a better idea than you do. That's good. Creative, productive tension is healthy. Listen, let me wrap this up now. The overall morale will improve because everyone's going to be pulling together. And if there is a lesson in the Mike Shildt story, to me, it's this. Everybody must put their egos aside instead of worrying about who has the power, who's in charge. I'm the boss. Why don't you all work together? You're all Cardinals, so act like it, okay? Thank you all for watching. Please subscribe, hit that like button, leave your comments, support our sponsors. Special thanks to DraftKings and BlueChew for presenting the Bernie Show here on STL Sports Central. Y'all have a wonderful day.